Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Industrial Faith. Welcome to episode 23 of Factorio 4X, your 15-minute Factorio fix. We are currently taking the train down to... I think I've got to go down and check on some stuff here. Yep. I'm going to go bust a base. Or a large group of dudes. I lured one. I'm going to go... face pull, as it's called in MMOs, which is meaning there's a lot of dudes out there. Now, at this point, I could have blueprints and stuff. It is not until a couple hours from now that I figure out how good blueprints are. I just never bothered with them at all. But there's also a reason, because I'm not building any robots. And when I start building robots, things get a little weird. In a good way, I guess. But I am now a huge fan of robots after playing with them for a little bit. And they are... especially having a personal robot port. Oh my. It makes turret creep ridiculously easy. And I mean ridiculously easy. Because you just lay a blueprint and poof, there you go, you're done. It's like, yeah. And the bots will automatically repair stuff for you. It's fantastic. The only thing I haven't figured out how to do is delete stuff for the robots takeaway. Kind of makes me nuts. That is a large swarm of dudes right there. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the 42-man raid, Factorio style. Oh, that makes me the boss, like a boss. Ah, that makes me laugh. However, do not worry, I'm not going to turn into a jet and bomb the Russians. I'm not that kind of boss, nor will I... well, you know. Look at that. I think that was interesting how they just kind of stood there. In real time, they just kind of like creeped forward for about, I don't know, it was 30 seconds or so. I was like, wow, it's really weird, I thought. But, you know, oh, look at that big raid that just went by me and died. How did you miss that? I don't know. Oh, and here's a tip. Don't leave turrets by your power lines if you're not going to be there. I had a raid eat 3 laser turrets. You'll see it later. But it was kind of interesting. It's kind of went, oh, well, that's a poor idea, I think. The nice thing is, if you have enough roboports, enough robots, it'll lay down everything right there, because that's 8 turrets and 1 power structure, 1 pylon. Build more pylons, and it will it lays it down, boom, instantly. It's way faster than you can do it. So they're dying, because that's great. So I'm expanding my my giant pillbox. Oh, doom. And I come up with an interesting theory for defense in one of the episodes here, and when it happens, I'll go ahead and explain it. But I think it's interesting. Although I'll be honest, right now I'm hankering for a cup of tea. So I'm just kind of checking to see what's going on. Again, expanding the defenses because that's a good idea. Or am I repairing it? Oh, that's right. I'm going to lay another little pillbox. Little fishtail pillbox. These things come in from everywhere. Every side. So this one, I'm not sure if it's big enough. And I figured, why have a miner just sitting off on the side? Do something with it. It's spacing. We don't need spacing. Now, the reason I can't see the trains is because I don't have radar out there. And that's something I discovered. Oh, radar is fantastic. I should use more of this. The answer is yes, I should. Okay, so I'm looking through here, getting more, just repairing turrets. And there's going to be some times where I stare at the power screen. I'm just trying to make sure that when the solar cells shut down at night, that I still have enough power that the accumulators make up for the lag. And they do, and I have no issues. So I'm looking at this going, oh, all right. Don't know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something, though. Don't need that much fuel production. Ooh, it appears I'm going to go regulate some more. Take out some more alien biter. It's interesting. That's what I've spent a lot of the end game doing. Killing biters. Biter nests. I will drive you away from my desert, bug. And this is entertaining. I find this, you know, it's tower defense if you play tower defense, and with your base defenses, you're actually also building tower defense, essentially a tower defense as well, which of course is always fun if that's your thing, and it is. I always thought those were some of the better mods for Frozen Throne. Yeah, the Warcraft Orcs and Humans, the RTS. I always thought that was kind of entertaining. The tower defense games are always a lot of fun. Some were very hard, and some required that you knew what you were doing, and some required that everybody knew what they were doing. And they were just fun. Now, even with the biter evolution at 83%, there's not a lot I have to do here. So you can see that you kind of act as a radar yourself, but you really kind of don't. You have a very large sight window. So here I've got more copper rolling. Yeah. So that should work. So I'm having thunks here. Here's my thought. Is the aliens they run for the gaps in your defenses. So why not put gaps so that it forces the aliens closer to your guns? I mean, really, why not do that? Because you can see, it's not blocking, but you see that? That guy headed straight for the gap. That's fantastic. Because that means, just by doing that, it's not a solid wall. You don't need a solid wall. You just need to funnel the aliens into killing zones. Now, sometimes I have seen an alien attack a wall, but, you know, so they run into the turrets and they stop. So I think I'm going to be trying this from now on. It's not building walled enclosures, but instead building channels for the enemy to run through and basically build a kill zone for the enemy and see how that goes. Hopefully it goes well, I hope. One doth hope. And I'm just going to leave. And now I'm on the absolute last... I didn't like that rock. It said bad things about my mama. Only I'm allowed to say bad things about my mama. But... and much to my chagrin, I've said some terrible things. Which is why I can't allow that rock to do it. So, trying to build more walls. I have this contract from this guy, Mr. Trump. You might have heard of him. Anyways, he's got this wall fetish. He wants me to build one, so I'm going to go ahead and do that for him. Next time, I'm also going to build a path that doesn't require me to run along the train tracks, because that was always... Here we go. Ooh, God. Ooh, boy, it's just miserable. Just... I will admit I do not like that. So here's me just moving turrets around. See, he ran around the wall. So, I'm pretty sure this is the way to do it. Pretty sure. And I was gonna gate this, and I said, nah, forget it. Let's do the same, essentially the same thing. What that should do is I should funnel the aliens towards my defensive emplacements, except for the tree which blocked the wall. So this one's probably not needed because it's kind of a coast, and they're not going to come in from the coast. There'll be no amphibious landings. Wouldn't that be cool? So this guy, I think, is pretty well defended. So yeah. But I have built myself a nice running track beside beside the rails, so I don't have to worry about it. And I just decide to let that side go and see what happens. You know, little experimentation. And I'm out of walls. I've hit the wall on walls. But yeah, next time I'm gonna build a path. I wonder if train signals work for people. I assume they don't. I mean, if you're on the track, I'm pretty sure the train doesn't care. But it'd be kind of nice if it did, wouldn't it? So the reason I'm beefing that up is because now I'm going to angle everything. So again, the enemy has to... if the enemy wants into my base, they have to come through. You've got to go around, basically. So, and I don't know if there's a gap size for the bigger biters or whatnot, but that's kind of what I'm doing here. Just trying to keep things somewhat consistent. And lasers have a really long range, so you can do some pretty good stuff with it. So there I've kind of made it so they can't get to the processing thereof. All in all, the defense part of the game is pretty interesting to me. I was going to put up more lasers, and I went, why? The whole point is so they don't bother the walls. Now, I've seen people build them with gaps in the walls so the biters run through, and then they put blue conveyor belts, which are the fastest conveyor belts. They put them in there so that the biters are having to run against the conveyor belts, which I think is interesting. I don't know if it's necessary, but there you have it. That's how some people do it. So I'm coming down here because my steel is poor. It's not fast. And I'm just kind of looking at the iron here. How's the iron? Copper's good. Iron's good. We have a train. Everything seems to be going okay here. A lot of engines. Just staring at the power again. I do a lot of that. The later game, you end up looking at stuff, watching it, looking for trends, seeing if anything weird goes on. And everything looks okay to me. Accumulators are rocking down, but any second, you know, once the solar cells kick in, everything's good. So I'm trying to see, what do I need to build robots? Because that sounds kind of fun. So there's two types of robots. There's construction robots and logistic robots. So I'm looking at this, 23%. It's building. Logistic robots bring you stuff and move things around inside the factory. Construction robots build stuff. And if you lay out a blueprint, you can do what's called ghost building, which is you can basically build imaginary versions of it, and robots will come take care of it. So. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're wrapping this up. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Factorio 4X, your 15-minute Factorio fix. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. You have a good night, and bye-bye.